What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show, the first episode of the regular season of 2023. It's in the books. Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Giants. A lot of good stuff this weekend. A lot of good stuff on opening day. Some bad things over the course of the weekend, too. We're going to talk about it all. Scott, how you feeling?
Good, man. It was a good weekend. You got the series win. That's the name of the game, right? That's all year long. We're going to be looking at how they're doing in these series. Are they pulling out the victory? Or are they not? Because that's going to tell the big tale of how this team is doing. But I thought overall it was good. We got some, Cole was dominant, absolutely dominant. He looked like the guy everybody wants him to be, and the guy that he believes he is, and the guy that the Yankees apparently believe he is as well. He looked every bit of that guy. So hopefully he can bottle it up, and then a couple different sides of the coin for pitching performances for the next 2 games.
So I'm going to preface this with, this is not a serious take, but I'm going to talk about it like it's a serious take. The reason that Cole had such a great day is because, did you notice that this is the shortest his hair has been as a New York Yankee so far? You could not see any hair. So he is now fully embracing the New York Yankees lifestyle. He's like, I'm not going to go down to the shoulder. I'm not going to sort of get fancy with the rules. I'm not going to do the pseudo mullet anymore. No. Pressure is a privilege. I got to go to the barber, get that shit high and tight. I'm ready to go. I'm officially a New York Yankee now.
So you're thinking that maybe he wasn't all in.
He wasn't all in up until
he
now.
wasn't all in.
And then, you know what happened this offseason? He saw Judge sign the massive deal, get the captaincy. The Yankees brought in another big arm, big money arm. And Cole's like, I got to get my stuff together.
What if there's a new person grooming the New York Yankees these days? I mean, one of the first things that I noticed on opening day were those teardrop eyebrows by Mr. Aaron Judge, getting a little fancy with those eyebrows. I think we need to cool it with all things. He goes the teeth and then the eyebrows, and he's showing his contract a little bit, you know.
It's new money eyebrows.
Yeah. So, if there's a new barber or what, maybe this is Cole's first opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to play by the Yankee rules.
Eyebrows. So you texted that to everyone. You were like, Judge's eyebrows. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And I literally had to look at I paused. They were showing him in center field, and I paused it at that time, and I'm like, what is it? I guess his eyebrows are a little thinner than normal, but I did not pick up on that. So I don't know. You're all over it.
Yeah. I always look for things that are just different, and I'm not saying it's bad or good. It's just different. You know what I mean? It's it's another level of confidence you got to do, I think, to sport those eyebrows. Some guys can't do it. Some guys can. Apparently Aaron Judge is one of those guys. So he's playing damn well. So I love everything about it right now. The guy's mashing. So yeah, it's all great. The new barber, the new stylist doing a hell of a job, bang up job in series 1.
Judge first swing of the year home run. That was one of those moments. It's just transports you back to last September when he was going after the home run record immediately. And you're like, oh, right. Yeah. Judge is still the best player on the planet. He declared himself.
A lot of Volpe talk this past week and a half, and rightfully so, but Judge is like, don't worry about it. Remember who I am. I am the captain coming in hot. Yeah. First swing. It was awesome.
Did you catch Judge's post-game press conference on opening day by any chance?
I heard some of it. Yeah.
So he said, I forget the exact question, but he said when Volpe stepped to the plate for the first time, it sounded like he was chasing 62. Just not in a bad way or anything, but just commenting on how fired up everybody who around the organization, every fan, everyone in that ballpark was for Volpe. And really that was obviously coming out of opening day, Cole was awesome. Judge was awesome. Volpe got a stolen base. He had a couple hits on Saturday, but it was just, it added an extra level of excitement, the fact that he was there and playing and starting all 3 days.
A huge level of excitement, not just a little bit. I mean, this is the ideal scenario for Yankees fans. You have a new captain on the team, which means there's a guy there that you believe in who has all the things that need to be, named captain. And now you have a new starting shortstop who's a kid coming up to your system, who's a local tri-state area guy. And won the job in spring training. It's the perfect scenario. It's really, everything you could possibly want as a Yankees fan. So yeah, I'd say it's a good reason. And Judge was wanted to make it very clear that he's still the guy. First swing.
And Volpe's sporting sticks now, number 11, no longer number 77. This is good for a couple reasons. Okay, first of all, I didn't like that he was wearing number 77.
No, nor did I. Did not either.
The stink of Clint Frazier, just get rid of that.
Yeah.
For love or hate Clint Frazier, I don't want to be reminded of Clint Frazier at this point.
Right. Not a great place to start. Who needs that conversation?
No. So number 2, I mean, it's a real number, right? Number 11 is a real number. Number 77 is not. Number 99 is a real number because it's Judge, right? But number 99 on someone else is also a fake number. But so
even 99 is just a different number.
It's cool. It's cool.
Like 77 is an offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? Like 99, not many people wear.
And the fact that he called Brett Gardner, that's all well and good. That's fun. I guess Brett Gardner warrants the phone call. I think Volpe's trying to do the right thing because that's going to endear him to fans as well. But the reason I love it so much, because it officially puts to bed the Brett Gardner in Monument Park narrative, which seemingly everyone around the Yankees was all about the last few years. And it's I like Brett Gardner. I have been labeled as a Brett Gardner hater just because I was tired of seeing him get the starting job year after year in left field. And I thought they should give other people, namely Clint Frazier, an opportunity. But also, let's be real. Brett Gardner does not deserve to have his number retired in Monument Park. He was a great Yankee. He will
a great Yankee now. Great Yankees get their numbers retired in Monument Park.
Well, see, that's the problem, I guess.
He was a good Yankee.
And I guess you have to draw the sign somewhere. Yeah, he was a very good Yankee. He had good play. He had some nice playoff moments, which is key. He was on one championship team, but he was not a key member of that championship team. Maybe had the Yankees pulled it out in one of those final years of his career, and he had a nice role in that, maybe it would be a different story. But anyway, number 11, who knows? It'll end up in Monument Park one day, but it's just not going to be Brett Gardner.
Yeah, and I'm glad he did the same thing. I agree. Total on all fronts. 77, it's not a number an infielder's going to wear. Okay, we're getting away with the double-digit high numbers in the outfield. Fine. Infielder number 11. I like it. And the kid, I just tweeted this out before the end of the game, but I love the fact I knew he had stolen bases in the minor leagues. I knew he had some base stealing acumen, but he's a little bit of a menace out there. I mean, he's that first steal that he took. I mean, that was a running lead. That was not a little walking lead. We had a couple hops in there and then took off and stole that bag on the pitcher. So he's aggressive on the base path. He made a couple nice plays in the field with some help. Rizzo helped him, and LeMahieu helped him on that turn that he had. That was a little crossbody, but he looked really good. And then again today, he was active on the base paths and actually scored a run because of it.
Last thing on the number, do you think there's anything to the 1 + 1 = 2?
That was the first thing I saw. Just in my eyes, I saw that. I saw two things. I saw Bevan, my wife, she wore number 11 all through college as well. So that was good for getting Volpe in her good graces. And then, the 1 + 1 = 2. That's kind of how I told Kemp it was, just because he knows Derek Jeter's number 2. So that was my introduction to Anthony Volpe. He loves Derek Jeter, just like you.
Well, it's cool if obviously he picked. Do you think the Yankees approached him and said, we want to give you number 11? Or do you think he said, I want number 11? Has that been out? Have I not heard this?
I have not heard this. So if the story is out, I don't know. Logan, do you know?
I feel like I heard them say that they gave it to him and then he was reserved because of the Gardner thing and then went and asked. Okay. I think that was the way it went. But I'm not
that would make sense to me.
I'm gonna look.
If I were to be a betting man on how that went down, I would have said that the Yankees approached him because, one, just hearing this kid talk, he's one of the most respectful, nicest kids I've ever heard in my entire life. I just, everything about him says that he has the respect and humility of, anybody. And I can't imagine him going up and saying, I want 11. I just can't, not at this point. So I have a feeling they did that.
As a rookie, you don't demand a number.
Unless you're Clint Frazier and you're trying to unretire Mickey Mantle's number, right? And yet another reason to get the stink of 77. The Yankees wanted to get the stink off 77 off of him.
Well, we thought it was going to be number 77 because the official tweet announcement from the Yankees had number 77 on it because that was his spring number. Anyway, enough number talk. I thought his at-bat, so his at-bats on opening day, he worked the walk in the first at-bat. He didn't chase pitches outside, which was really good.
He did yesterday. He did yesterday.
He did yesterday, but his first at bat of his professional career, he didn't chase and then ended up stealing the base. I thought the third at bat for him on opening day, when he struck out with first and third and 1 out in the 7th inning, he was over swinging. He got beat on some fastballs up. And in those situations, like, he's got to be amped up, right? But that's just a situation you want someone like Volpe to just try and put the barrel of the bat on the ball and lift the ball to the outfield. Like, he's not, at least at this stage, like, we don't need him to hit the 3-run home run there. You need to have quality and productive at bats, especially batting 9th there. And DJ ended up saving it, the situation. He ended up getting the hit to drive in the run right after that. But I thought that was like a slight negative on his opening day. He did get the 2 hits on Saturday. I think it was 1 hit up the middle, 1 hit in the shortstop hole. But yeah, he did chase a few pitches as well. He's going to go through those, like, some at bats. He's going to look,
of course he is,
overmatched, and
of course
some
he
at bats he's going to be dialed in, and he's going to go through a slump at some point when pitchers start to make adjustments. I'm just really happy. Again, he started all 3 days at shortstop. Like, we saw IKF in the lineup on Sunday playing center field before Aaron Hicks gets a start in the outfield. Like, that's also telling, right?
Yeah, let's dive into some lineup talk, just complete lineup. Let's nerd out on that, because the Yankees did exactly what I think all of us want them to do. One, Stanton played in the outfield twice in this series.
So awesome.
I don't know if that's just like, let's set a tone here, understanding that
on the way to 73, my bold prediction.
And then you have Volpe at short every single day, didn't bring anybody in, and then Cabrera standing in left field all weekend long. And 100%, no doubt in my mind, that ball in like the 4th inning, I think, that Cabrera, he had to shield the sun and catch it. 100%, it's a double in the get if Aaron Hicks is out there. There's 0 chance he catches that ball. Yeah. So I'm glad they did all the things. They really did. They did all the things that I think most Yankees fans wanted. They put their best lineup out on the field for the weekend, which is great. You want to see that, I think, especially on opening weekend at home.
So obviously Stanton played back-to-back days back-to-back games in right field, but it wasn't back-to-back days because of the Friday off day. I still bet they try and avoid the back-to-back days in the outfield as much as they can. But if that could still mean, 3 to 4 days a week in the outfield, which is nice, which I think is probably best case scenario. I'm not expecting 6 days a week in the outfield for Stanton.
No, and I think that it's not going to be. It depends on the health. So if they're still playing shorthanded, and you're not getting much production out of left field, if left field becomes an offensive void for the first few weeks here, and neither of those guys are playing well, then I could see them trying to get Stanton into the field a little bit more, just so they could get another bat, either Glaber or DJ in that DH spot, because clearly they want to get DJ in as much as possible. And they'll play him at the DH spot with Stanton on those days that he's not there.
Yeah, Glaber was DH the first 2 days,
right?
And then played second, leading off, which I don't love. I don't know who the other choice is right now.
I think it's Bader when he's back, but
right. Yes, that's a good point. I was joking before the game. It's like, shit, put Volpe there. But I don't know. I don't love Glaber leading off, but I don't really have a clear-cut better option. So I guess that's what we're going to have to deal with. And Glaber did play second base on Saturday too. I was wrong about that.
Yeah, I don't like Glaber at the 1 spot. So if they're going to look for someone else at that point, I know he's a rookie and he's the new starting shortstop, but it does make sense having Volpe in that leadoff spot. It does make sense. It's just purely on a stylistic type of guy, with new baseball, which stolen bases are now back a thing. Like, you want your leadoff man on, right? At any point, get that guy on base, and if he's got wheels, even better.
Let's do this. Let's make this a thing. Can you look up in 1996 when Derek Jeter officially moved from batting 9th to leadoff? Because that happened at some point early in the 1996 season. He started hitting 8th and 9th, and then they moved him up to leadoff at some point. Glaber's just like around a 300 OBP guy, right? Like, we know what Glaber is at this point. He's not going to have a lot of plate discipline. He's going to run into home runs like he did on opening day. And so fine, like then just bat him 5th or 6th or 7th, right? When there's more opportunities for guys on base. Like, I just don't need him to be leading off. That's a small nitpick with the lineup. Otherwise, really happy with Boone's decisions this weekend for the lineup.
Yeah, and for the most part, especially if he's healthy, like LeMahieu's in, minus the stolen base piece of this, which is now new, but he's a perfect person to be in the leadoff spot just as far as back control. So I don't hate him being there by any means, but I do think if Bader's healthy, he gives you a lot of. So that's why I don't think the comp is direct, because whenever Jeter started, if Harrison Bader is there and was there, I would say do not put Volpe in that leadoff spot. I would rather Harrison Bader be there if he's the starting center fielder.
It also entirely depends on how Volpe's doing, because Derek Jeter was playing great in 1996, so they moved him up. If Volpe's hitting 260, they're not going to move him up to leadoff.
I mean, 260. What are you talking about? 260 is like a batting title.
Not in the shiftless MLB. We saw the shift come into play. Like I noticed it a lot today on the ball that Rizzo hit up the middle, and Crawford, all he could do was knock it down. And is because, yes, Crawford was shaded well up the middle, but he was not across the second base bag, but he was on the infield dirt. So the best he could do was knock Rizzo's line drive up the middle down, instead of last year, he's catching that on one hop and easily throwing Rizzo out. And then Stanton followed it up with like the 5,000-foot blast to center field.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. This Flaherty was talking about this, and I don't understand how he didn't see it coming, but he was talking about how he understands now how defensive athleticism will be on display because of the non-shift. I don't know what he was looking at, but clearly it is because they have to cover more ground, and that's why I like this. I think it gives, obviously it levels the playing field, the whole point of it, but it does give those plus defenders the ability to make like fantastic plays, and a lot of those plays were kind of masked by the shift because there was a guy there. The second baseman didn't have to range all the way over to first base to make a play, or shortstop up the middle, and now we're going to start seeing that again. So early take on the rules and all the changes, I'm a fan. I thought I was going to be, just because I think it does take it back to the way that I like baseball, in that there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of there's just a lot more things happening, and I think they're accomplishing that. So I'm slow, as my buddy Jim says, a golf clap for MLB and these rules, because they did a good job.
Logan, you have the date for Jeter?
I do. It looks like the first day that he started consistently batting leadoff was August 4th.
Oh, that's a lot later than I thought it was.
Later than I thought. Let me also, because while we were just on the topic, read you an Aaron Hicks quote that happened sometime between yesterday's game and today's game.
If this motherfucker is complaining about his playing time.
He is complaining about his playing time. How did you know? Quote unquote, I just want to play. I don't want to come off the bench and face closers all day. I want to play the field. I want to play every day, and it's just what I want to do.
Cool.
Thought on that, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's what everybody wants to do. One, don't say it, because they don't really want your honest opinion at that point. They just, they want you to be a good team guy. And two, you don't deserve it, because you've had the opportunity to take it many, many times. So shut up. Zip the lip.
This is what I would tell Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks, you had 453 plate appearances last year, and you had a 642 OPS. The year before that, you had 126 plate appearances, and you had a 627 OPS. You are not good enough to be a starting outfielder anymore. So you are going to be sitting on the bench, coming in for defense late, and occasionally pinch hitting. And if you don't like that, bye.
I mean, that's the thing. This is what pisses me off. If you don't like that, that's your role, bro. That is your role on this team right now. And yes, he's going to get more run in left field. It's going to happen. But this is a platoon situation at this point, if at best for him, because this weekend I couldn't believe Cabrera was in left field the entire time, but he was. So if this is your role, you should embrace it. And if you're not going to embrace this role, which is a much needed and important role on the club for the entire team, this is an important role. If you can't play that role and you don't want to play that role, then yeah, get the hell out. And now I'm looking at guys who've been DFA'd or guys in AAA who actually want to be there and play in that. Yeah, that is a privilege to them. He just sounds like an entitled player right there, and I do not like that.
So apparently Boone also said Hicks is going to play the next two games, which is not great. I don't understand that. Like, what that plan doesn't make sense to me, because it's not like you're playing Cabrera over Hicks for matchups this weekend. Like, they're
No,
both
he's probably
switch
just
hitters.
giving them bulk of time, right? I don't know. It's because of it's early in the season. It's really hard to read into any of these things as a thing. More so, it could have just been, this weekend we're going to give it this guy. This series we're going to give this guy, and continue the battle into the season after spring training. So who the hell knows, why it is, but it's kind of what I expected. I expected there still to be a timeshare out there. Cabrera's not just going to take this thing. He didn't really steal it.
No, but he didn't. But we know what Hicks is at this point, right? Like, we've seen Hicks, like you said, you've had many chances to be a starting player, and you've had some good stretches, but they've always been followed up by injuries. And now for 2 straight years, you've either been injured or bad or both. And I don't need to see that again. Like, just like you said, embrace being the fourth outfielder. I don't understand why he is not. Listen, you want a guy to want to start, obviously, but he needs to be self-aware enough to understand he has not earned this.
But it doesn't matter. Like, all you do is just say, I'm here to play when my name is called, and to be on this team and be as productive when I get opportunities. That's it. Like,
yeah,
you're not the starting left fielder. You know that. So this is not that type of situation.
Yeah, for sure. So you're talking about Judge's eyebrows earlier, in the fact that they maybe got he went too hard at the tweezers before the game. Do you think do eyebrows? What do eyebrows do? They help keep dirt out of your eyes, right?
They do help keep. It depends how bushy they are, but yeah, the actual purpose. I don't know.
Yeah,
not much. Not much of a purpose.
Does it help block? Does it help block sun at all?
No. You still get burned.
So no matter what, Judge has thick eyebrows or thin eyebrows, he's still going to have sun in his eyes, unless he has an amazing pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Shady Rays is a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair you can find, or any bushy eyebrows that you can grow. What's the guy from American Pie and Schitt's Creek, the dad? Like, even you can have those
Eugene
eyebrows,
Levy.
Sun's still going to get in your eyes. Eugene Levy, thank you very much. I saw him at a bar in Manhattan one time.
Yeah.
Shady Rays frames are durable, less expensive, and have extremely clear optics, perfect for outdoor activities like golf, beach, and baseball games. Everyone has probably lost or broken a pair of sunglasses at some point in their life. If you do that with your Shady Rays pair, you don't have to worry about it, because they're going to send you a new pair if you lose them or break them, no questions asked. And if you buy it and you get it and you put it on, you look in the mirror and you're just not feeling the style, you can exchange them for free within 30 days for something different that you might like better. That's huge, because it's difficult when you're buying something online if you can't try it on. I have my Shady Rays. They sent both Scott and I a pair. Can't wait to wear them on the beach this summer. I'm showing them on the YouTube right now. They've got the little chestnut frames. Really excited for those. Shady Rays is giving their best deal to our listeners. Go to shadyrays.com and use promo code Bronx for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Go check them out. We know you're going to love them. And thank you to Shady Rays for sponsoring our show. Okay. So let's spend some time on Cole. We joked about the hair thing, but he was absolutely dominant. 95 pitches through 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, which set a club record on opening day for strikeouts. And I believe it was 8 strikeouts through the first 3 innings, which, if you can do the math right, that's just one shy of 9 straight strikeouts to start the game. He needs to put this rotation on his back for the first couple months of the season. Like we saw, we're going to talk about Clarke Schmidt. Clarke Schmidt struggled. He couldn't even get out of the 4th inning. I mean, today you're giving a major league debut to Johnny Brito, and he was great, but like, how are you going to be able to count on that every time out? Nestor Cortez, we all hope, is healthy and is truly the number 2 right now. He's going to start against Philly. But there's just so many question marks with this rotation. The health is such a concern. That's one thing. It's like we get on Cole, but you don't have to worry about his health, knock on wood. But damn, does he have to be rock solid right now for the first couple months of the season?
Yeah, and we've seen him be the best pitcher in baseball early in in a season in the past. Like the guy has obviously everything there. I loved his body language. That's, I know he's been talking to Clarke Schmidt about body language, and at a few points during that game, I'm sitting there like, not great body language, Clarke, not great body language in the way that you're walking around that mound right now. Not great. And, he was kind of crying for some pitches too, but Cole had everything there, everything he was, everything that he looked, he was working off his fastball command was there. He was popping the glove, and he just looked dominant. That's, when he's controlling that fastball early in the count, that's when he's always at his best. And that's what we saw. So good start, damn good start. And you're right. He does need to carry this rotation. And we may not see a guy like Burrito, for a couple of times that he probably might go back down to the minor leagues because of the way off days are.
Yeah, but like he pitched well.
He did pitch well. He pitched very well.
I mean, he pitched 5 shutout innings today. Give him another chance.
Well, that's the thing. The way that the schedule works out too, there may not be the next time through the rotation. I think I was looking at the lineup and I heard either Susan or someone.
Well, that's because they go to Baltimore to open for Baltimore's home.
Yeah, it's purely circumstantial. But at that point, you don't know who's coming back. Rodon's throwing a couple simulated innings. So there's definitely some hope that guys are coming back. So it's a matter of time. It has nothing to do with the way he pitched. He pitched fantastic. The guy did awesome. 5, like you said, 5 shutout innings. His control was there. His pitch count was a little high, but that was it. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was ranked the best control in the Yankee system. And yeah, he backed that up today. I don't know. I'm at a point. It's like, yeah, we all want Clarke Schmidt to grab his spot in the rotation, but you pitch who's pitching best. Like, it's not hard. Who's pitching best? Okay, that guy gets the ball.
It does not work like that.
I know it doesn't work like that. I wish it worked like that at this point. Like, what? Well,
because you would be bouncing around so many goddamn times if you did that because of the way guys struggle at certain points.
Well, no, okay, so, obviously it's not going to be week to week. But what I'm saying is, Burrito pitched well today. Yes, I understand. You could skip his next start and send him back to the minors. Fine, but like, he pitched well, so give him his next start in the rotation. Like, why are we getting fancy?
If it doesn't line up for it, it's a moot point. It's not as if they're skipping him. That's the point. If they may not need that 5th starter because Clarke Schmidt is in the rotation right now. And if you're also alluding to the fact that you don't want Clarke Schmidt in the rotation,
no, obviously I want Schmidt to get another chance at it. Yeah. So there's really not, because you've got 3 against Philly, then 1 against Baltimore on Thursday, then the off day Friday. But then after that, you play 9 in a row before an off day on the 17th of April. You don't really have like a ton of off days. So it's like, yeah, technically, I guess Burrito's day would be Friday. And so that would be skipping. But it's not like you have a bunch of off days the week after that too, where it's like you just push Burrito to Saturday and everyone's back in line.
Yeah, they could absolutely do that if they're pushing guys around and doing that. They also may need another reliever at that point too, because guys aren't going as deep into games. Depends on the roster. But yes, he pitched well. I'm glad he did, and I'm continue to look forward to watching that kid pitch. Clarke Schmidt was disappointing. He
very
early the first couple innings he had the cutter going, and I thought he looked pretty good, but then he started to tail off.
Second inning.
It was into the second inning when he started really getting deep into counts, and he got unscathed, but it was
second inning.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're talking about the second inning like it's the 7th inning. Like, oh yeah, finally in the 7th inning he started. We're talking about the second inning, 32 pitch second inning.
I just wanted him to pitch better.
Couldn't get guys out.
I just wanted him to pitch better.
I did too. He bounced back with a nice 3rd inning, but then in the 4th inning, he falls behind Crawford 3-0. And you made a nice point on Twitter where you're like, what are you even doing at that point, attacking Crawford? And he ended up throwing a BP cutter in the middle.
It's not even on him. That's a Boone thing. That's a throw up the 4, have the guy walk, have him walk to first base, and then attack the lefties with a lefty, which they were going to do anyway. So it made no sense actually for him to throw that pitch.
Right. You're saying walk Crawford, then go to Wandy for the lefties coming up after that. And
correct.
It's still not an ideal situation. You've got runners on base with Wandy coming in, but it was clear. I mean, that was Schmidt's last batter anyway, and he falls behind 3-0. Like, what are you letting him throw a meatball for? So
there's no reason. No reason. But I will say, being able to nitpick managerial decisions on the first weekend, it's a privilege. It's a privilege. I'm glad it's back.
That's the best. That's like the best part of being a fan. It's like,
I'm just saying,
manage from the couch.
I was appreciating the second guess in the moment at the time. I'm like, okay, I appreciate the second guess. It was the wrong thing to do.
It was also only the fourth inning, right? And you're hoping that the Yankees are going to be able to score more runs. They ended up going 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position and left 8 men on base. They almost come back. That ninth inning, that Stanton at bat. So what's the closer for San Francisco? Doval? Camilo Doval. He was a puddle out there. He had the pitch clock violations, which meant he fell behind Stanton 0-1 or 1-0, and then he threw a ball to Stanton. And you could see Stanton, he's like, I'm ready to feast on whatever next pitch comes in here. But I also think, you got to either hit that ball out of the ballpark or just take the pitch and make Doval throw you strikes, because he's clearly crapping his pants out there.
Yeah, he was in a bad spot. He was definitely feeling the pressure and the weirdness of the new rules. You could tell he was mental at that moment. But I will say, you're down by 2 runs. You got Stanton up. He's looking at a beautiful 2-0 pitch that could possibly. He's probably looking at one spot and one spot only, and he just didn't execute. I have zero problem with him swinging at that ball. He hit it hard. I don't know what the exit velo, but I remember thinking that it was a hard hit ball.
4-hopper to shortstop.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it was it went where it went, but at the same time, he did put a good swing and hit it hard. I want Giancarlo. You got 2 runs that you need to tie the game. So yeah, you could walk. That's great, and then maybe he settles down the next. If you have an opportunity at a 2-0 count with Giancarlo Stanton up, I have zero problem with him swinging that bat. He just didn't execute.
Right, because who's up after Stanton? Is Glaber or Donaldson? Right, is up after Stanton.
I'm
trying to go
either way, you need 2 runs. So anybody that's after Stanton in that lineup, I want Stanton swinging the bat with a 2-0 pitch, like all day long. That's the guy I want with a 2-0 pitch at that point. So no problem. Just again, not, and he did what he's done forever as a Yankee. He stood up there and took accountability for not executing on that situation, and that's it. Like, that's what the guy does. You can't say shit about him because he just goes out there and owns it every single time. There's been a lot of talk about him putting on a clinic with the media recently, but that's exactly what he's been doing since he got here.
I was thinking about this after that game, because you're right. He does just own up to it. And that ball was 115.4 miles off the bat.
He hit the piss out of it.
Stan does not hit. If he hits the ball, he hits the piss out of it. Like, that's what we've learned about Stanton. When he makes contact, the piss comes out of the ball. So I think Stanton is has been an extremely likable Yankee, despite the fact that he has not lived up to the performance we all thought he was going to. And that's largely due to injuries. He's missed so much time, but because, like you said, like, he just owns up to it. And he seems to have handled Judge clearly far and away, not only being the better baseball player, but by far the more beloved player, superstar on the team. He's handled that very well. And I'm not comparing him to A-Rod, because clearly Stanton is mature enough and comfortable enough with himself to be able to handle that. But if you just compare it to just like other superstars in general who were the man in their previous city and then came over and are no longer the man, a lot of guys could not handle that.
It's true. It's the way that he handles his business. He does, even when, there was that offseason where he had soft tissue injuries and he was bench pressing like Instagram models. Like, I think that was probably a peak frustration point as a fan when you're looking at that type of stuff. But no, the guy has handled the New York media flawlessly. And again, like, the only thing we ask you to do, the only thing you really do need to do, especially if you're struggling, is stand in front of your locker, stand in front of the podium, and just admit that you are struggling and own your shit, and then do your best to get better and stay on the field. And he's done all that. And he's had some big moments. He's had some big moments where he's, gone on some streaks that have, helped this Yankees team get to where they've gotten. So no, man, he's like, again, so go back to that situation. Give me that swing all day long, 115 off the bat. Like usually good things can happen when a ball's hit that hard.
And he punched the ball today because he was angry.
Yeah, he was angry. And that's what he does. That's what he gets. He gets angry at the ball. And then as a pitcher, you're shitting your pants. He's very intimidating up there too, because he looks like he's going to, like chop your neck off with that bat.
Also on Saturday, the bullpen, King and Holmes, the two guys plus Wandy, who you're counting out of that pen, didn't look great. Although King, he pitched an inning 2/3. A couple of it was 2 infield hits that ended up scoring the runs. He did give up, 2 hits to get into that situation too. That's his first, big league appearance back since the surgery, since his elbow exploded. And then Clay Holmes, like he comes in and he just allows those 2 insurance runs in his inning of work. Like that's a letdown right there from Holmes.
It sounded like King, not only was struggling a little bit, but he let go of his loyalty to the state of Rhode Island. That's the biggest thing that I took away. When I heard, I think it was the Fox broadcast, I'm listening to those 2 schmucks talk. They were talking about, Michael King from Rochester, New York. There was like
they said grew up in Rhode Island because
I heard Rochester, New York,
which I know you didn't listen to when.
And then it was just a full record scratch, just a skirt. Wait, what? This guy is from New York. He's not even from Rhode Island. What are we doing here? What is the state of Rhode Island doing at this point? I don't know.
Not producing a lot of baseball players. So if a guy grows up in Rhode Island and goes to high school in Rhode Island, we're going to claim it. Jeremy Pena as well. Rhode Island's claiming Jeremy Pena. That's a good claim, though.
Yeah, they're good at claiming. They're good at claiming better than most states, I'd say. They take the initiative in claiming those guys. They got to be early.
Well, Rhode Islanders have an inferiority complex.
It makes sense. It does make sense. You guys are a little stuck in the middle.
But I feel like Jersey has that too.
No. People think Jersey does, but they don't.
I've lived in both states. I currently live
just
in New
because
Jersey.
you've lived there, doesn't mean you're from New Jersey. Understand it.
Believe me, I know I'm not from New Jersey. I'm just saying.
I really hope Holmes is a big one that we need him early. That's another guy that we need early. And then obviously Michael King coming back from last year. Michael King looked good. Like the results may not have been there, but I thought he looked good.
He got the check swing that scored a run. And then that weird ball. Volpe. So I was trying to figure out what happened to Volpe on that looping line drive. Was that off the end of the bat and he thought it was like pulled more and then he realized and then he had to like jump back towards second base to knock the ball down? Because that was not a hard hit ball, but he probably thought off the bat it was a hard hit ball.
I think it was a weird ball with a lot of spin, and I think that's exactly what it was. I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, King looked good. I'm just so happy that he's out there, wearing the uniform as soon as he is, because when he went down, I think we all expected him to be gone for a lot longer. So I'm glad he's there. Holmes is the guy that we've seen struggle in the second half of the year. I need him. I need to get that confident feeling back with him at the end of the bullpen like we had early in the year last year. I'm really looking for him because there's definitely some unknowns out there as well, and he's a key piece of this, obviously.
All right, let's talk about the rules. We mentioned them already, but the pitch clock. So Logan said something interesting because he went to the game on Saturday. He said it was very, very noticeable being in the stadium. And it's funny that he said it for the Saturday game because that was the only game to go over 3 hours. Opening day was 2 hours, 33 minutes. Saturday's game was 3 hours, 12 minutes. And then today's game was 2 hours, 27 minutes. Sub 2.5 hours is just awesome. I cannot stress the word awesome enough. Last year, they only played 6 games, basically at or around the 2.5 hour mark. 6 games in all of 2022. They've already played 2 out of 3 at the 2.5 hour mark. And the pitch clock is working magic.
Yeah, Logan, what were your thoughts? I want to hear this before I give my...
So I thought it was fast. I will tell you that I don't know if this has to do with it or if other things have to do with it, but I kind of thought that they were going to raise all the prices in the stadium based on the fact that the people are going to be there less. There's less time to pay for concessions. Can confirm chicken buckets are up $5 a bucket.
Up $5?
They're up $5?
They're up $5.
What are they now? Like
$24.99. I actually just double checked that because that's what I thought, but everything was up. All the beers were up. Everything was up. But I think it's probably based on the fact that there's probably an extra a half hour less a game now that people can't buy stuff at the concessions. Also, the guys in front of us got up to get chicken buckets, and they missed legitimately an inning and a half to 2 innings.
That's going to be a problem.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah,
but that's going to be a problem. You got to do your homework. You got to do your prep. You got to get things as much as possible and
get them before, and then don't get up, literally,
and hope that like they're going to probably have to increase the amount of guys that are out in the stands, slinging stuff. Beer,
it felt fast
food.
being there. It felt way faster being there, and it was like, I turned around to like say something to somebody. You're missing pitches left and right. You got to be locked in, otherwise you're missing stuff.
And you're more talking about like the at bats feel faster, right? Like the individual. Because obviously the game went 3+ innings, or 3+ hours.
But that game on Saturday last year takes 3 hours and 55 minutes.
Easy,
right?
There was a ton of pitching changes.
And just
it was
the two games that went 2.5.
Right.
The 2 games that went 2.5 this weekend take 3:15, and that's thought of as a fast game last year. So I think it's such a great thing for the sport. I really do. Like, yeah, fine. You're going to miss it if you go get your chicken bucket or you go get a beer. But it's like, I just think the quickness and the crispness, especially with runners on base, that's when it's very, very noticeable because pitchers slowed the game down to a screeching halt when runners were on base. It's fast. The camera would normally do like multiple replays. They do multiple shots of the field or of the players. Now they might do one quick replay and then it's back to the pitcher and he's in his windup. I just think it's such a much more entertaining product. And listen, if you look at really what happened, it's still a lot of walks, still a lot of strikeouts, still a lot of home runs. Like that was basically how the games went still. And I think that's going to take time to fix, right? It's like the players are still who they are. And like, that's been how the game has been developing for a half decade now. So we're still going to get that, but it happens faster. And if it's happening faster, that's just better for everybody. And it's like, people can complain, Doval was probably freaking out because Giants fans were probably pissed because he couldn't handle the pitch clock. Like Gerrit Cole, I think Michael Kay brought this up on opening day. It was the 4th inning and he was rubbing up the ball. And then he kind of realized like, oh crap, like I gotta go. I gotta hit this pitch clock.
Well, we saw with Duvall too. There like a couple,
also
a couple little
clock
things.
Violation on JD Davis in the 9th inning on opening day with Marinaccio pitching. He wasn't ready for the 8-second mark. And so this also happened to Rafael Devers on opening day. He got called for a pitch clock violation. Scott, did you happen to watch that video? Because he got called out strike 3.
No, I did not see it.
So Devers was in the box with 10 seconds to go. And the rule states you have to be ready for the pitch at 8 seconds. So he was in the box at 10 seconds, looked out at the pitcher. The pitcher was not ready to go. So Devers kind of like put his head down and started to like, wave the bat back and forth or whatever. So then when it hit 8 seconds, because he was head down and like waving his bat, the ump called him for strike 3. I'm happy there's rules, okay? But I'm also like, that's a pretty gray area because it's not like Devers is out kicking dirt behind home plate at 8 seconds to go. He is in the box with 8 seconds to go. So if they're going to be that strict with the rules, I think I'm going to take it because I want the speediness of the game. Like I want this to be drilled into players. But damn, like as a hitter, you don't just have to be in the box. You have to be like in your stance at 8 seconds.
Yeah, you have to be engaged with the pitcher. I think that's one of the you have to be engaged. I think that's how the rule is stated, or I made that up. But you have to be very, very much right there. And look, I think the other thing you said, which makes a lot of sense, early on, you're going to see some guys struggle with it, but they're going to get used to it. They're going to get used to it. It's going to be what the way that the game is to them very soon. You're already seeing it with a lot of people, and it's one of those adjustments that you're never going to notice again once all the guys make the adjustment and they get used to this thing being repeated over and over again. So I'm not worried about it at all. I think it is a good thing for the game, and it's consistent. That's the other thing. Like you mentioned about guys, when there's runners on base, they'll step off the mound, they'll do these things to slow the game down. Now you have a consistent pace of the game. So that's the other thing. Like, and to Logan's, detriment when we're at the game and some of these people there, like not used to it yet. but you'll get used to this pace of the game now, so that your head is, and you're paying attention now to the cue of the game, just like in any other sport where there's a clock and then there's a shot clock or a the count in football. Like, you got to be ready for it, and I think everybody's making the adjustment. But that is a weird place for an umpire standing behind the batter to be able to fully understand if the batter is engaged with the pitcher. So it's like you're almost looking at like the brim of their helmet or what, like, obviously they can see a little bit, but it's a strange thing to say, and that will be a problem at some point. That will definitely be a problem.
Guys are going to get pissed and get thrown for. So, and the players union will probably say something, but like the players union needs to realize, like, this is not about the players. This is about the fans and about the game and the product. Like that's what we're doing this.
Well,
we're not doing.
And this was one of the pieces of the rule that they wanted to be reconsidered after spring, right? Like, but the MLB said, no, we're keeping everything the way it is.
They added in the big swing clause.
Okay, that's it. So then but that's a judgment call. That's a like, okay, this guy needed a breather. What we saw in the at the end of the game with the Giants is that the guy's struggling. Catcher comes out to they're going to use those visits,
mound visits,
a lot more strategically now, and they're going to use them.
Basically, he
had to walk out. I think Roberto Perez or whoever was catching at that point had to walk out to avoid another pitch being called to strike. So there's now a larger, the catcher really does have to be in control, not only of the game, but of the clock. And like, he's got to have a really good internal clock. And when that thing is going, so that he can go out there and step in late in games like that.
So Cole, one thing I failed to mention, when he called out Trevino, when he was realizing he was going to go over the pitch clock. So
right.
He called him out, just used, it's basically like you have to burn one of your timeouts. Like in football, if it's 3 seconds left and you're not ready to go, you got to burn your timeout. I think, I was really pleased with how it went.
The throwing over thing, I really do. As much as I've been on this in spring training, after seeing it now just for a weekend, I think it's going to continue to get exploited. It's going to continue to get exploited, and these guys are going to be
Rizzo tried to exploit it today, and he got nabbed.
Running. Yeah, I mean, Rizzo's been doing that shit for but it always just looks so bad when it doesn't work. That's just how it is. But yeah, across the league, like, I think you're going to see some pretty seismic changes in that way.
Yeah.
And catchers just don't have a goddamn chance. The catchers don't have a chance. They really, the strikeout or the throwout percentage is going to be so severely low this year. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it's still up to the pitcher though to control the run game as much as possible. If the pitcher is going to take up until the last possible second every time, that's giving the runner the green light to go ahead. It's like,
they just need to start their mechanics. They really just start their, because what you're seeing and what you'll continue to see more is that when there's a runner on, they can stay set for as long as they want. Like they can affect the timing of the runner by staying in the set position before they start their actual windup. And I think that's where you're going to start to see a lot more gamesmanship, because the batter can't step out, more than X times. The runner there's a game of chicken going on there. So the pitchers are going to start holding the ball for even longer too, and really try to like mess with that timing. Like that's a Nestor Cortez special. Now, you're going to see a lot more guys do that, I bet.
Nestor, I'm looking forward to Nestor because he's pitching tomorrow against Philly. I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles it. So I definitely think umpires were probably instructed to call things tight at the start of the season. It's like, how cops have quotas for tickets, like each month that they have to hit. Like, I wonder if umpires have quotas in the first month of the season, because what baseball wants is not in August, September, and especially October for the umpires still having to call pitch clock violations. They just want it to be drilled into the players so they're conditioned for it. And then it's not even like a topic of conversation by the second half of the season. So that's why I'm sure they're calling it tight, because that was a tight call on Rafi Devers, but cool with it.
Yeah. And against the Red Sox, even cool. Yeah. Even better.
Fuck the Red Sox. All right. Like I said, 3 games against Philly. weird starting against two National League teams before they go to Baltimore for the Orioles home opener. But Taijuan Walker versus Nestor Cortes, and then Matt Strahm against Domingo Germán, and Aaron Nola versus Gerrit Cole. That's a hell of a pitching matchup on Wednesday. So that's the week. So we have preview episodes. We've done a preview episode the last 4 days, including Saturday and Sunday. So if you didn't catch those, go check those out. We have more preview episodes every day this week. And then Scott and I will probably be back on. Do we know when we're recording in? Because I think it's a day game. Is it a day game, Orioles day game opener on Thursday?
It's a Wednesday day game and Thursday day game.
Oh, okay. So maybe we'll probably record after Wednesday's day game, after the third game of the Philly. Are we sure about that day game? On Wednesday?
Yeah, to get it getaway day game.
Cool. So we'll likely record after that 1:00 day game on Wednesday.
You got some home openers happening and things like that, so you get some weird times of the games.
Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, good start. Good start. Keep it going. It's weird, National League. You're right, but I like it. Good start. Go Yankees.